Whenever there is a sequel to a game or anything really, uh, many people have questions about the sequel. Is it as good as the original work? Or is it worse? Or in the best case scenario, is it even better than the original? Well, I personally think that if the sequel takes the things that made the worst game, movie, whatever, good. If the sequel takes those good things and expands upon them, it is a good sequel. And Unravel 2 is... well, it actually kinda does that, really. It takes many good things from the first Unravel and expands on them in some ways or another. There are some other changes too, and your mileage might vary. Are those better or worse than the original game? But they are changes. And they are what make Unravel 2 its own game. Hello and welcome everyone. I am Yama, a Finnish content creator who speaks in English and uses a Japanese name. And I'm here to today present you Unravel 2. A game I have actually for the longest time I had very mixed feelings about. For years I absolute love the first game. Like, if you have seen my playthrough of the first Unravel, you should know how I feel about that game. That game is absolutely great, wonderful, and it feels close to home to me because it was made in Sweden and I'm from Finland. So Sweden and Finland are pretty close in nature and culture and everything. But then I played Unravel 2, and after I finished the game for the first time, it didn't quite meet my expectations when I went into it. Of course I had very high expectations for this game, and by the time I finished it, I wasn't really happy with the things the game did, because I was very much expecting a similar experience to the first game, and this game is very much its own experience. Now I spent years having these very mixed feelings about this game, until I recently went back and replayed this whole game again, to see if I still felt this way about this game. And after this second playthrough I did, I made the decision to actually bring this game on my channel and show you guys what it is all about. This is Unravel 2, made by small Swedish gaming company Coldfoot, like the first one. And let's go. Let's start anew. Chapter 1, Foreign Shore, in which we lose everything but start anew. when two meet, it creates a spark. Spark of something new. We might be lost, but we are not alone. This is the main mechanic of Unravel 2. In Verse game where you play as only one character, this game you play as two. You can switch between characters by pressing the triangle button. And when you are close to the other character and hold the triangle button, you can fuse together. Just like that. And we are here on this warring shore together, chasing this spark that was born when we met. So let's go chase this spark together. Now what we are playing as, these characters are called Yarnies. If you played the Verse game, you might be familiar with the concept of Yarni. Yarni is kind of a guardian spirit of sorts. And the Verse game we went through the story of Yarni, experiencing the life of the person they were protecting. Oh yeah, you can change the way your character looks in the menu. You can change your appearance, you can change the shape of your head, you can change your eyes, body, and most importantly, the color. But I think I'm going to stick to the default because this is what the game gives you. And I think that's good enough for me. But Yarnies are guardian spirits. And we have two Yarnies here. And you might wonder, who are they guarding? Well, we might find out that later. But for now, we are here together on this warring shore. And you want to hold X to jump higher and further to get through this. Alright. You stay up there, Rent. And I'll get through. This is why having two is very important. One can stay on a vantage point while the other one goes on. And as long as you guys stay together, you can make it through everything. Now there are different directions to make little emotes. You can sit, you can say hi, and most importantly, you can hug. More games with hugging options, please. I would love have more games with hugging. Hugging is important. Alright, down we go and continue chasing this spark that was born when we met. Now this is a new mechanic to this game, wall jumping. As you might notice, compared to the first Unravel, the gameplay is much more action-packed. It is much more fast-paced. With this wall jumping and bouncing around with two Yarnies, switching between seamlessly. It is much more action-packed. Which is kind of fitting considering that the first Unravel we play as this old Yarni, who is kind of slow person. Kind of a little bit slow. But we have two younger Yarnies now. We can swing around with our yarn and move on. Lots of this stuff is pretty much what you experience in the Verse game. So if you have played the Verse game, you can just go to this game and have no problems, really. But it's not really required to play the Verse game. I'm going to say that right now, this game really have no relations to the Verse game. So you'll be fine if this is your first experience with Unravel. Oh boy! Falling down! Rocks! some things never change. Like in first Unravel, rocks falling. You know this stuff. And swinging around with your yarn. You should already know this all. And failing, like always. Because you can never do anything right. Heaven help me. Alright, let's do this right this time. Too low, alright. Suffering through this with me. Okay. If you wanna swing far, you wanna go low and swing far like this. Let's go. As I briefly mentioned, you can also pull objects around. As I briefly mentioned, this game was made in Sweden by a small Swedish gaming company called Coldwood. And they made the first game and this one. So this game is very Swedish. Inspired by places in Sweden. And you can do this. Okay, here's a new thing. You can leave the other character hanging while you move on. And you can make through obstacle. Words failing me. But you can make through everything. It takes two to get us through this boring sword. You can jump through thin objects like this. These branches, no problem. Wall jump, and after spark we go. You can go down and fall in again. No problem. And you can climb with the with vines that has arrow symbols, arrow patterns. In the first game it was sparkles, and I welcome this change from the first game because it was sometimes hard to see what you could climb and what not, because it was this sparkle thing that sometimes was hard to see. But in this game, not so much problem. If you see arrow somewhere, you can climb it. Now this is another mechanic that you might remember from the first game. Tying your yarn. And creating bridges with that. But unlike in first game, you don't have to like hold down while you're jumping from the bridges. You can just jump and it swings you up. Now this is new, also another new thing for this game. Hint system. Press L1 for hints. And you can scroll through hints. There are 3 hints for each section. Each hint will have more information than the last. You can scroll back through the hints or tap L1 to close the browser. You can turn assist on or off in the gameplay menu. Whoop. Another mechanic from the first game. Tying bridges. And you can probably already guess where this is going. It is yarn magic bridge time. How this works, don't ask me, it's yarn magic. Yarn magic just works. Alright, untie these bridges and let's go. 2 of us in this together. We can make it through. Now this is a little bit more complex. We need to create a bridge. Jump up. Jump up. Tie this and make more bridges. As you can probably guess, this is the tutorial level of the game. So it's nothing too difficult. And falling down again and rocks! Up. When yard between characters runs out, if the yard between characters runs out if they're too far apart. But you can always climb back with the yarn. Hop and hop. We were not separated for too long. Just wall jump this and climb this fine. And you should be good. Now this is another great thing about having two characters to play with. You can just use the other character to swing around while the other character holds them up. And you can go on. Now as you can probably already tell, this game was very much made in two-player in mind, but I'm playing this alone. It doesn't matter if you have two people or one person playing. You can play it just fine, regardless. And some you might be wondering, is there a Switch version, Nintendo Switch version of this game? And the answer is yes, there is. And if you have Nintendo Switch, it's a very valid option to play with. The test. Oh my god. Anyway, don't worry if you make mistakes, you can always go back up. The game is not too punishing. I'm saying about this about Unravel. If you have seen the first game, you know this is a kind of weird thing to say that, hey, this game is not punishing. Anyway, Switch version, if you have Nintendo Switch and you wanna play this game with your friend or alone, a valid option. I actually did my test run of this game before this recording this on Nintendo Switch, and it was just fine. The only thing about was that the graphics were at some places a little bit more simplified. But hey, Nintendo Switch is not as powerful as like PS4, which I'm using right now for this. But it's still good piece of hardware, and I recommend it. Patrons! Hi patrons! Just swing over here. And you come with us, Blue Friend. Bluey. Should I name the Yarnies? Okay, you will be Bluey and you will be Red. Red, blue. It's more easier to remember them as that than just calling Yarnies. At least you know who I'm talking about then. And this is something new in this game as well. Water is not dangerous anymore. You can just swim in water. Like, what is that? You are made of fiber? Huh? Water can't hurt you. You're magic, YOLO. But we are making way up this well, this old well. And into the rust bucket may go. Timber! Yeah. Well, that was alright. We made it out of foreign shore, and we made it to the lighthouse.